What's up, guys? It's Isaac here at Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson with your pre-owned motorcycle of the week. This 2019 Harley-Davidson Lowrider. That's right, Lowrider, not Lowrider S, not Lowrider ST, but the Lowrider, the Softail Lowrider, and this gorgeous Barracuda Silver. Alright, we're going to start off by showing you this paint here. Look at that gorgeous flake all throughout there. I mean, this is sharp. So you have the this graphic that you saw in most of the earlier Softail lowriders that were rocking that 107. Cool thing about this being a lowrider, instead of a lowrider S or ST, is that you got chrome. So when the lowrider got bumped up to the lowrider S and ST, you got the dual rotor, and most of them went for that blacked out trim. Now this one is a little more cruiser than the sporty rippers that the S and STs are, but this one will still get down. So for a stock 19 lowrider, what you're going to be looking at is you're going to be looking at these kind of cut rims, which are pretty sharp. It's going to be the same finish you saw on the Sport Glides, most of the early Softails, or most of the early Milwaukee 8 Softails. And you do only have the one rotor up in the front. It's not inverted suspension. It is the traditional style. I think these are the stock bars, just a little bit of a riser and a little bit of a width. Now most everything else is pretty stock on this bike. So stock foot controls, it does come stock with the mids. So the mid mount position, which is gonna be right about here. So the forwards, which puts you a little bit more like there. Now, if you want to swap it out, that is something you can do on these bikes, relatively easy. But yeah, it's rocking a 107 Milwaukee 8, great powertrain for most anything you want to do. It is set up for a passenger. They can sit right here, and you got passenger pegs right there for them. And this is the stock exhaust, so it's the 2-to-2 shotgun exhaust you got right there. Then you got your rear wheel in the back, little stand-up license plate, and you've got your turn signals and your brake lights all hanging out right here. Now, there's a couple things I want to go into on this bike. This is a pre-owned bike, so it has been customized a little bit. So what you're going to be seeing on this particular bike is it did go ahead and get a quick detach windshield. And so that's the cool thing about most of the release, these two main accessories on this bike with the bags too, is that they are quick attach. You can easily throw them on and off in a matter of seconds. So it's just these clips right here that you would just undo, and since this clips right onto the actual top end of the fork itself, there's no leftover hardware to look at, and it's got a nice little kick up. So we're going to try that on the road, see how it does. And you do have adjustable levers, so you can bring that brake and that clutch lever a little bit closer to you, depending on the size of your hands, get it dialed in a little bit better. These are quick detach bags, so it's got the little buckles right here, and then it's got a little snap up there. I've got some equipment in here. I'm gonna try to get some fancy photos of this bike out on the road here for you. But all you'd have to do is you would just have to turn this dial to unlock, and then you just slide it right off, and then it slides out there. And then the only hardware you're going to see left over is going to be right back here. Now, one thing that a lot of folks like doing these bikes is, if they're set up for a passenger, a lot of passengers really like to have a backrest. So what you can do here is it's going to sit right here, but it's actually going to be a quick attach right there. So you would just have to replace these bushings. That's all you'd have to do. And then you're able, of course, on the other side too. But then you can do a little quick detach sissy bar and be good to go. Another thing that was done here is that they went ahead and had turn signal relocation bracket installed, so it actually moved the turn signals further back, so that way it had clearance there for the bags. And it looks pretty sharp. Yeah, all nice and tidy up there. One of my favorite features of the lowrider that makes it stand out, to me at least, a little bit more than the other lowriders, are the dual gauges. So huge fan of the dual gauges. Some folks, when they do T-bar setups, like to mount these up top, but look how sharp it is. You got the nice chrome there. You still have the dual caps there. So this is the only one that's actually a fuel cap. This is just kind of an aesthetic stick-on cap there on that 5-gallon tank. So it's a fantastic amount of range, for around town riding. And then if you're trying to tour with it, it's a really good range. Because when you empty one of these tanks, you're probably ready to come off the bike then anyway, get a little stretch in. So yeah, here it is. Super great. Here's what it looks over the cockpit, and let's go ahead and show you what it looks like on the road. All right, everybody, here it is, all fired up, ready to rock and roll. So adjustable levers, super nice. I got this one adjusted to my hand there. Looks like just over 4,000 miles, 4,230, but we're about to add to that best we can. Biggest downside of this motorcycle: doesn't have cruise control. So this was one of the earlier Milwaukee 8 Softails where cruise control was a little bit more of a luxury, and it was kind of only, and it was an add-on. So it is, you just have to replace that right-hand control module, and I think it's a flash you have to do as well. But at that time, you pretty much only saw it on the kind of the touring M8 Softails at the time. So like the Heritage and the Sport Glide were pretty much the only ones that had it. But now you see it on pretty much most of them. I think because so many people were buying the add-ons and getting them put in. So yeah, we got a little beach bar accent, a little beach bar here, a little bit of chrome cowl. See how this windshield does. Yeah, got the bag. So let's go ahead and got my license plate on. I love the dual gauge setup. It just looks so classy. Hot take, I think it looks pretty good when you mount them up on the bars there. So can't see anything right here. All right, so mid controls, very nice, very nice. I'd probably opt for a little bit taller seat just so it gets a little bit of that bend out of my leg. So now, take that down so you can hear me better. Now, I'm not gonna bother trying to show you what this exhaust sounds like because it is stock. So if you want to hear it in person, you're welcome to come see it. But I don't think this one's gonna really knock your socks off or anything. So, but it's nice. And so it's not tuned or anything. Well, I mean, it's not like, you know, aftermarket tune or anything like that. It's just the stock tune. So she's just hanging out. If you want a little bit of a sportier ride, highly, highly, highly recommend a new pipe and tune there. So, but yeah, there's a lot going on over there. Hadn't seen all that in a bit. Let's see, cannot see anything around that person. All kinds of low visibility today. And it is the stock. Yeah, most everything on this bike is stock. So it's a clean slate, ready to be customized for you. And this motorcycle is arguably one of the best all-around motorcycles there aren't. One of the best all-around bikes, all-around street bikes for Harley. Because if I want to say all-around motorcycle, the Pan America does, with its with how you can kind of adapt that bike, you know, for off-road or strictly like sport touring on-road. There's a lot of options you have for that. So that one's kind of tough. But if we're talking strictly street bikes, then I would probably say this one would have to be, or at least the M8 Softails here, you know, with the 107s, just because they're that awesome mid-range where they're great. You know, they're nice and light, easy to throw around. They're sporty enough you can ride them sporty, you know, lift them up in the rear a little bit. Tons of suspension options, and tons of customization options for pretty much everything on these bikes too. And they're so much fun to ride. So, and it's still big twin Milwaukee 8 power. And the 107s, they're small enough displacement too that they really don't get that hot. I mean, yeah, of course, you know, if you're at least that hot for, you know, a summer in Raleigh, you know, it's still a motorcycle, so it's still gonna be hot. But it's not that bad. That oil cooler is really nice to have. And these 107s still hustle, and this motor's such a good option for customization too. So many easy ways to, you know, do your stage kits on it. But we're gonna see how it does up on the highway. So can't do our acceleration test because our car right here. A little bit of tire right there. Adjust my mirror. Should have done that already. So normally I would set my cruise and adjust my right mirror. However, I will have to reach across. So how is it on the highway? How's this windshield? This windshield's kind of nice. It's kind of good. And it is a 6-speed too, so you drop it down for quick passes if you need to. You really don't have to a lot of times though. But when you really want to make a quick pass, you can drop it down. But cruising in 5th gear, 65 miles an hour, about 2,900 RPM. So I mean, yeah, I could go ahead and throw it up in 6th.
cruising at 70, about 2,500 RPMs. Easy as that. So, and I'm adjusting to the right a little bit so I can get a better line of sight for my surface conditions. Yeah. This wouldn't be a bad bike at all to go cruise and party with. These bars, they look, I'll talk about that when I get out of the wind here. So these bars could probably, they're classic. They're classic. Kind of in all nice and tight there. That's fun. It's a very interesting position, for sure. But I mean, they have a classic look to them. So I mean, they look great. You know, if that's your style, cool. If not, they're super easy to change out. So the dual gauges, they're super cool. I love the look of them, but there is a downside. It is harder to look up, and you do have to look pretty far down, especially if you want to see that tack. So I think some people, I think you can swap, don't quote me on it, but I think you can swap it out if you care more about seeing your tack than your speedo. But you can also put an exhaust on, and that could be your speedo or your tack. Sometimes that's easier. So yeah, tried to give it a little blip under the bridge. But yeah, I mean, these bikes are small and light enough that the braking's pretty good. Now, if you're really pushing them hard, a little bit, you know, you're definitely going to see that advantage in that second rotor. But these do. For most of the riding folks are going to do on these bikes, it's plenty fine. So, but yeah, you can still lock up the ABS on it. Yeah, so what do we have there? So very simple controls on this bike. It's very nice. And I do have a green light here, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that car is going to stop. Hello. Got a green light there too. You think we can make it? Let's see. It's going to be close. Make sure no one's about to do a U-turn right here. Look at that, we made it. Yeah. Nice, simple, easy cruiser. It is kind of cozy. I do feel kind of cool on this bike. Which, if you don't feel cool on your motorcycle, then you got the wrong one. I hate to tell you. So, yeah, here we are. Nice, easy cruise today. Beautiful weather. We just had that hurricane roll through not too long ago, so hope everybody is doing well from Hurricane Debbie. If it was a hurricane, I'm not sure it really was an official hurricane when it came up through this way. I think most everyone just got a lot of rain up around here, but I hope everybody is doing well. The advantage to it is it did bring some nice cooler weather up here, so it's not 100 degrees today. It's barely even 90. I don't even think it is 90. I think it's like 88, 89. So, hello. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and make our little turn right here. I do like these adjustable levers. I'm not quite sure what brand they are. I don't think they're the P&Ys. I saw a logo, but I didn't recognize it. Lots of a little bit more traffic here at the park than we're used to. Let's go ahead and ease on up. Yeah, so what can we see on this bike? So I have my analog speedo, analog tack below that, and then here I have my miles on the bike, my fuel gauge, my gear indicator. Let's see, I can also see my trip A, my trip B, my fuel range. Looks like I've got about a little over half a tank and 147 mile range. What? Wow, it's pretty good. We do have our clock that needs to be set, and now we've got a good curve to go hit. So, the lowriders, they're fun. They do good. This is a fun bike. It's a really good, it's a good sized front end. It's a good sized front end on this motorcycle. You know, big enough tire that you got a little bit better traction, you know, than your Sportster 1200 with a 21-inch front wheel. Got a little bit more grip up front than that, but you know, it's not so big that it's hard to tip in and all that. So I mean, it feels really good. I feel like this would feel a little bit better with a different bar setup, but handling's there. It's a great bike to rip around. So it doesn't quite feel as, you know, animal like that Fat Bob we rode a few weeks ago, but this one's still pretty good. I still think that one had a cam in it. I still stand by that. I looked for you guys to try to figure out if it did, but I couldn't find anything. But I think there is. Oh, obviously there's a cam in it because you need a cam to operate a motorcycle. But I believe there is a different cam than the one that came from the factory. That's always one of the funny things you hear people say. It's like, oh, nice, like, does that motorcycle have a cam in it? Like, yes, like I thought they all do from the factory. But no, it is do believe it had a different one than what it came with from the factory. Let's see. Yeah, so this is just such a good all-around motorcycle. The quick detach bags are nice. If you don't like them, then quick detach them. Now, I love the look of a, you know, cleaned up. I love the look of a cleaned up motorcycle, you know, with, you know, no fairing, no bags, just motorcycle ready to go. And then I'm like, oh man, I really hope my hat and wallet don't get lost on this ride. And then it's like, oh, I have bags. Why don't I just put them in that? Wouldn't that be nice? So think they ain't partying. New pole, I do believe, because I know things about line work. And I read a 20-minute article on a 20-minute article. Not reading a 20-minute article on that, unless it's really captivating. So yeah, it's a good bike. So now we're entering the next part of this little test here, where we talk about how great it is kind of around town. You know, we've been doing some around town stuff, but you know, you're stuck at some lower speeds. How is it just to cruise on? It feels good. I do like this seat. This seat's a little bit slippery. Not slippery, but it's just a little bit slick. You know, but again, you know, most folks probably won't have an issue with that. It's very comfortable though. So I mean, it's not something you're gonna have to, you know, immediately change when you get the bike. Yeah, so, but one of the issues that some folks have that I've, you know, heard of people having with some of these older Softails is condensation buildup right here. Now, some condensation buildup right there. So, not sure what the solution is to it. I saw it with an 18 Softail that I haven't fixed it yet. I couldn't tell you what the solution is. That's what service departments are for. But you'll see this one has it going on a little bit. And again, it doesn't happen every time, but it happens sometimes. So it's definitely worth, you know, if it bothers you a ton, you know, it might be worth having checked out. So, or something done about it. But a lot of good options there for you, for sure. So I really want to get a photo in front of that building, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Bet. we're gonna see how nice it is having bags. Took some okay shots, I think, trying out the Sony. So took some alright shots. So look at that. Look at how nice it is having a saddle bag. Just drop that in there. Do that buckle, then that buckle. I promise I've used a saddle bag before. The little snap there and snap there just for added security. So I look back over this thing. Let's get back on the road. So a little side stand up. Oh yeah. We're shooting some kind of video film over there. Ain't nothing on our video film we're doing. So there we go. Yeah, so this is your 2019 Harley-Davidson Softail lowrider. Not the lowrider S, not the ST, just the S. And she is ready to cruise. So we are cruising through Centennial Campus in Raleigh, North Carolina, and coming up to this four-way stop. You see, people have been finding all kinds of fun things to do with shipping containers here lately. So, repurposed containers, I reckon. Chicken Q truck, mighty fine. So, yeah, this is such a great bike. It's not a big old dresser, which, navigating those bikes through stuff like this isn't bad. And again, I've said this in other videos before, and I'll say it again in this one. When a lot of times we talk about, what you can do with a bike or what a bike is set up to do. Oh, come on, sure. We talk about, kind of what a bike is set up to do, what you can do with it. You can do whatever you can do, pretty much whatever you want to with a motorcycle. It's just a matter of, again, it's a lot of smaller things, a lot of smaller nuances that kind of make one bike better at that job that it's designed to do than another. There's the guys that do. I think I was up at the Milwaukee, or the Harley-Davidson Homecoming Festival in Milwaukee, 121st anniversary party, and it was a blast. If you ever have the opportunity to go to one of those, you need to go to one of those. I'll talk more about that later, but what you got? But then there was a guy there who did a cannonball run coast to coast on a 1940s, pre-1950s Harley-Davidson. So, it's going to take extra work, like a support vehicle on a bike like that. But you can ride coast to coast. You can ride coast to coast on an Iron 883. It's going to take a little bit longer, and it's going to be a little bit more wore out when it gets there. And you might be a little more wore out when you get there, but you can do it. You can go coast to coast on a bike that's designed for that, like an Ultra, and you've got all the luggage room you need. You're good to go. But it's going to be way easier to do it on that vehicle because it's designed to do it. It's got the 6-gallon tank. It's got luggage room for everything you need. Oh, not the Cybertruck. I fight the urge every time I see one of those things to take a photo of it. 'Cause every time I see one, I'm like, that's weird. I need to get a picture of it. But I feel like everyone, if you want to drive a vehicle that doesn't get a lot of attention, then that is not the truck, because you will get a lot of attention on that. So I'm sure people will be like, oh, how does it drive? I've been looking at them. So, but anyway, you can do go coast to coast on an Ultra. You can do all that. You can go on a round town blast on an Ultra too, but that smaller Sportster's going to be a little bit easier at. So, you know, it's all about recognizing what a motorcycle strong suits are and the type of riding you do and the type of riding you want to do, and finding a bike to fit that need. And that's one of the reasons why I love these Softails, is because they're not the best at a lot of things. You know, this isn't the best touring bike to get, you know, it's probably going to be a Road Glide Limited, you know, and this isn't the best around town bike, it's probably going to be like a Nightster or something, but it's really, really good at being able to do all of those things well. And that's why I call it a really good middle ground bike, or a light touring bike, you know. So yeah, and that's why I really like the Softail line. So, because yeah, exactly, yeah, they're light enough, easy to handle, and they're classy. And on this one, I'm a sucker for chrome. I don't know about you, but I like chrome. He's got his turn signal on, so I'm gonna trust it. I will admit, some of the like chromed out Nula Rider S and STs that people have customized, they look sharp. I like them. Like chrome dip the wheels. Ooh, if you dip chrome, I'm gonna have to brush up on my chrome process. But chromify, chromization, not sure the right verbiage for it. To chrome something, chrome it out, maybe. But either way, it looks cool. I think we're kind of like, I've kind of circled back around. You know, I feel like it's, you know, it's chrome was cool, and then we need all blacked out, and now I'm kind of like, I like chrome. So here we are, and I really like this lowrider because it is such, like I said, it's so good at most everything. So yeah, this is going to be a great light touring bike for most anyone to hop on and go ride it. It's already got your bags, it's already got your windshield, it's got levers so you can fit a good variety of riders, and it's got a pretty good seat on it already. So the only thing you're probably going to want to do is throw an exhaust on, unless you like having the quieter exhaust. You like not letting your neighbors know when you're coming in and out of the house. So, but here we are, and we're making our last little loop here. And so before we roll back up to the dealership, I remember when I rode one of our Pan Americas down that little bit, because I was like, ooh, gravel. And it had to get washed anyway. But probably would not make that drive today. I think that road's mostly blocked off now. Windshield right here. I think I can still go down here. This is interesting. Oh, probably not the ideal place to do a cone weave, but here we are. All these places are coming up. If you're looking for a new place, tell you what, folks, if you're looking for a new place to rent or buy, I think these are all rentals, lease, something. I don't know if you can own these joints, but either way, if there are plenty of opportunities for you to live right here beside the dealership. You know how much fun that would be? I would get to drive by your house every week, wave at you. You can wave at me through the window. We could really have something going on there, you know. So, and look how close you would be to Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson. You wouldn't even have to cut your bike on to get over there. You just coast it all the way down the hill. So here we are, back at the dealership, which could be your commute from your new apartment there right beside us. Come be our neighbor. And it'd be cooler if you were our neighbor and you had this 2019 Harley-Davidson Lowrider. You want to see something cool? I'll show you here right quick. Check this out. This is another Barracuda Silver Lowrider. This is a Lowrider S. So see, it's all blacked out. Has the trim. This one actually has black wheels too. But dual rotors, aftermarket fairing bars, seats, stuff like that. You can see the vision. I still like the chrome. You want to match this guy, kind of be the like anti version of that bike. This could be it. This could be it. So, but here we are. Doing, feels great. Low speed stuff's nice too. And we are back right here at the dealership. So thank you guys for riding along with us, and we hope to see you guys out here at Tobacco Road soon. So check this bike out online, see the other photos of it, scope it out, see if it's one for you. And in the meantime, ride safe, and we hope to see you soon.